Start your day with a spark of light. Turn your dreams into green in sight. Ride the wave of a brand new tide. Side hustle secrets come alive. Every penny earned with pride. Stepping stones are side by side. Break the chains and spread your wings in the world where bigger saves. Money in your pocket makes it sweet. Side hustle secrets can't be beat. Chasing dreams with open hearts. Every gig a work of...
Hey, and thanks for tuning into the channel again. Today we want to talk about a huge problem that Instacart has. And it is not a problem of bots or people with 5 phones or fake accounts or bad orders. Now, the problem we want to talk about with Instacart today is actually one of the single biggest problems that Instacart has when it comes to driver retention and driver feedback. And even though bots, fake accounts, bad orders are all very real things, the problem that I'm talking about today is actually much more serious. It's feedback. Instacart has a huge customer feedback problem. It's more specifically ratings. And this is because Instacart utilizes a system for its ratings that is unique amongst its peers. And it's unique to the particular type of industry that Instacart is. Food, specifically groceries. DoorDash and Uber Eats and Grubhub have different systems that they use to monitor customer feedback, and overall it has a much less impactful weight on the driver experience. But a customer's rating for an Instacart driver can literally be a point difference between getting an order today or getting no orders at all. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar, Instacart uses a 5-star system to rate its drivers. And it has impacts, but not in the way that you might expect. We're not talking about hacks to be a better shopper here. We're talking about how you actually lose money because of ratings from a customer. So think about this. Think about yourself as a customer. When have you given bad ratings when you got a delivery to you? Was it because they were late or because the food wasn't great? On food delivery platforms, this is a problem drivers encounter because, for example, let's say an order was sitting in a restaurant a long time. Driver picks it up. It's already been there 30 minutes. You bring it to the house. You put it on the porch. They pick up the food, and it's cold. Well, that driver originally had that order, and they got it to your house right away. So it wasn't their fault, but a lot of the times customers rate drivers poorly because of this specifically. Now, Instacart's a little bit more pernicious. It's a little bit bigger of a problem. That 5-star rating is built into the algorithm, and we're talking tenths of a percentage point can impact whether you get orders or not. And that's because the algorithm with Instacart specifically prioritizes above everything else customer rating. And the biggest problem that can happen with Instacart is actually what I like to call the feedback doom loop. So let's dive into that a little bit. What is the feedback doom loop? Well, when you get a bad rating on Instacart, it impacts your ability to get orders. And so what that means is that when you get orders, you're getting less desirable orders. Now, I hate to break it to you, but one of the truisms in gig economy is very simple. Customers who don't tip very well also tend to rate very poorly. This is just a connection that's a fact. Ask anyone who delivers anything and they'll tell you that's just the truth. My 4.97 rating on DoorDash, the negative ratings have always come from somebody who tipped $0 or tipped less than $2. Every single poor rating I ever have on DoorDash came from someone who tipped poorly. And it's likely the same on other platforms as well. So imagine this. You're an Instacart driver and you're running around town trying to make ends meet. You're going as fast as you can, trying to find the right items, and bam, you get to a store and they're out of avocados. Now, your customer doesn't take that out on the store, and they don't take it out on Instacart. They usually take it out on the driver with a bad rating. Or let's say they're not particularly great at chatting or finding replacements. Let's say that you wanted Fruit Loops, but the store was out of Fruit Loops. They only had Fruity Loops, the store's brand that's similar, almost the same price, but not quite the same. Would you give your driver a poor rating? Well, unfortunately, most people do. And this has a huge impact on the driver experience. But it also has a significant impact on their bottom line. And this is where Instacart and grocery delivery specifically is very challenging and very unfair. The very nature of food and how human beings like their food impacts people this way. Let's talk about this. Produce. Some people like apples a certain way. Some people like bananas a certain way. Some people like bananas that are a little bit green when they buy them at the store. Some people like to eat that banana right away and make sure it's ripe. Avocados are the worst. You never know. Does somebody want to have an avocado that's going to be ripe in 3 days? Or do they want to have that thing cracked open the day they get it from the store so they can put it on their toast? It's hard to tell. And if a customer isn't responsive to chat, there's no way for the Instacart shopper to know how to make that customer happy. But a 1-star review can be the death of an Instacart driver shopping experience, and it can significantly impact their earnings. Now, there are a few reasons that this is a problem. That doom loop that I just talked about can literally cause drivers to just leave the platform. Because if you get a bad rating, you're going to get a bad order. And you're going to get a bad order, it's more likely that you're going to get a bad rating or a customer, for example, who's committed fraud. I've not been doing Instacart for that long, and I've already dealt with bad ratings and customer fraud in less than the span of a month. In fact, if you check out some of my other videos, I'm trying to get to Instacart Diamond status in less than 30 days. But I'm less worried about getting there because I can do 200 orders, and much more worried that I'm not going to make it because my customer rating might fall below 4.7, which leads me to some of my suggestions, what I think Instacart needs to do to change things and make it a little bit better. In fact, if they don't, I suspect that they're going to continue to have a driver attrition problem. In today's economy, it's not a problem for Instacart because there are literally cities that have waiting lists of thousands of people waiting to be an Instacart driver. But this is not going to be a problem for Instacart forever. And while their own publicly traded documents will show us, they eventually intend to get rid of drivers entirely. In the meantime, they need good drivers who deliver good products to their customers. So here's a few things that we think might help with the situation. Number 1, your ratings and feedback should not count at all until you get 100 customer ratings. Now, of course, customers should still be able to rate you, but in terms of the monetary penalty that you as a shopper receive, it should not matter until you get 100 customer ratings. Now, why is that? Well, it's simple. The more ratings you have, the better example, the better qualitative example and quantitative example you have from the customers about your experience. If you have 20 orders, a 1-star review is deadly. If you have 100 orders, a 1-star review is just annoying. So Instacart needs to change this so that you only get penalized once you have a minimum of 100 customer ratings. Number 2, Instacart needs to do some things to implement better safeguards in place for ratings. If customers do not respond to chats or requests for information about things like replacements or order quality or order quantity, they should not be able to rate their Instacart shopper. So if an Instacart shopper says, hey, do you want ripe bananas or green bananas? And the customer then reports them for the quality of those bananas, they should not be able to penalize the driver for that. The next thing, let's talk about fraud. Now, Instacart recently rolled out a big change to their rating system where they actually removed ratings from shoppers for customers who have a pattern of giving drivers low feedback or patterns of fraud. Now, on the surface, this might seem warm and fuzzy and cozy, but let's talk about this just for a second. Let's dive into this. What Instacart is really saying here is we know that we have some customers who use the platform fraudulently or who abuse our shoppers with poor ratings intentionally. And instead of dealing with those customers and removing them from the platform and preventing them from hurting our shoppers, we're just going to let them keep purchasing and pretend like the review doesn't exist. I don't think that's right, and I think most of you would agree. Telling you that a fraudulent customer can continue to order things, but it's just not going to affect you if they catch that person after they've harmed enough shoppers is simply not a good solution. Instacart doesn't need fraud, shoppers don't need fraud, and stores don't need fraud either. Instacart can certainly do better in this regard. And my next suggestion is Instacart should get better about how it onboards and trains its drivers. Groceries are a tough thing, and not everybody has the knack for selecting the right items. And so before you're eligible to purchase certain things or to be a shopper for certain things, you should have to complete trainings. So for example, if you're shopping for produce, you should have to complete trainings in the Instacart platform to ensure that you understand what you're looking for. If you're buying prepackaged cereal or you're buying something that expires in 6 months, you're probably it's probably not going to be a problem. But if you're buying watermelon, or you're buying pears, or you're buying avocados, I think Instacart could invest a little bit more in helping its drivers. They could actually do this in the app at the time of purchase. So if you scan bananas, it could say, hey, did you check the bananas to make sure that they're not bruised or have damage or squishy or have too many brown spots? Did you ask the customer? A simple prompt would help a lot. It would help the customer get a better product. It would help the shopper get a better rating. It would help ensure that they have a little bit better experience for everyone involved. And the last thing, Instacart is really trying to expand its platform right now. And in order to expand its platform, when Instacart first rolled out, it was a premium service. And I'm not just talking from the green screen of my beautiful fake YouTube studio. I'm talking from experience. I have thousands of deliveries with Uber Eats, DoorDash, and Grubhub with a 99% customer feedback score on Uber Eats and a 4.97 on DoorDash. And that tells me that I know what I'm talking about. In fact, if you watch the rest of my channel, you'll see I care about what I do, and I care about giving you tips to make your experience better. So I hope Instacart takes a little bit of time to understand and review this feedback so they can make the experience better for the shoppers. Because without shoppers, there is no Instacart. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you get a chance to subscribe. And check out my next video, which is, does Instacart have a dude problem?
Start your day with a spark of light. Turn your dreams into green insight. Ride the wave of a brand new tide. Side hustle secrets come alive. Every penny earned with pride. Stepping stones are side by side. Break the chains and spread your wings in the world where bigger saves. Money in your pocket makes it sweet. Side hustle secrets can't be beat.